But it's got to be on the list. It's got to be something that you're thinking about, is whether or not going aggressive for the current, the handful of leaders, the top 10, is a good idea. Because these are all players, especially down here. Everybody that is involved in this, I guarantee you, they've played against each other a number of times in the past, whether it's through scrims or even just public matches ending up the same game. They do have similar drop locations relative to how they play in those matches. So there's predictability, so you know where people are going.
Yeah, definitely. There's a very good professional scene here in Australia. A lot of people playing against each other time in, time out, scrimming. We even saw Jesse mention he's scrimming 10 hours a day, that kind of thing. So, like you said, we've got players from all around Australia that are competing against each other time and time and time again.
It looks like Christian fell asleep in the bottom of the building right there, choosing to not move at all. And I think the reason being, he doesn't want to give away position. Yeah. Just in case, even just a little shift down there.
Well, Slayer
would know right where it is.
Slayer has been one of those players that has been fairly aggressive early, looking for the fight here, gets a nice pump in, and that is going to be his first elimination of this round.
We'll see here, Prex trying to drop a couple grenades on Taylor, looking for an opportunity there. Doesn't find it, but he does go for the push from above. He's half HP, and Taylor sitting on almost full shield and full HP, and it's enough to just take Prex out, pick up a second elim, my apologies, from Taylor's me.
Yeah, nicely done. Really clean, really clean. Knew he had the advantage, able to push on forward, gets the high ground early, gets the drop on him, and nice little bit of loot stash for Taylor there as well as we jump over onto Dongers. He grabs himself an elimination as well, up to 2. Now 1 elim away.
It's Jesse is gone.
Oh dear. Well, now things get a little bit more spicy. It's anyone's game up for grabs now.
He picked up his first point of this game already. Player, like I said, at 2 as Slayer goes
absolutely
down. Quick
beamed.
Ooh. A little bit. One of those players actually that's nice. Gancho Smile taking a pump shot from above as he's trying to close himself off and look to not get that structure replaced. He's going to defend himself, just close out those edits and pop the slurp down on the bottom. Expect, I was going to say, a full shield immediately following is a good call. But Mr. Fresh Asian is on the east side of the map right now. Taylor's me is flying over top of him. You guys can't see it, but he is still alive out there, and the rotation could happen relatively soon. It's going to have to as the storm's coming. Jordy, 110 totally, sitting about 600, 700 mats right now. He's defending from what looks like multiple angles.
Oh dear!
17 HP. It's going to be a jump and spin and try and defend himself with as many structures as he can. Turbo build.
Oh, well, what are you going to do about that?
Not enough.
Eventually, he was going to run out of mats, if nothing else. In the meanwhile there as well, Jarlin goes down. So another player that I highlighted earlier, once again, not really being able to capitalize on the late game. 2 big names go down in pretty quick succession. Smile looking pretty comfortable with himself.
Slide down, opting for potentially kind of a low ground maneuver there. He doesn't want to put himself too high up. He does see as an edit, a window edit right there. He might be looking to take a shot here. Meanwhile, up here, the acrobatics in the sky, you have, I believe, still 6 players opting to float around, not necessarily engage each other. They're just waiting for that circle rotation to the point where they can jump out of the plane and play for position. 33 players. Not a lot went down between the last circle and this one. Only, I believe, 5, if I recall. There were 38 left.
Yep.
So not a lot of players putting themselves in bad spots. Pre-depression goes down. Sound like a shotgun blast right there. As Devour puts himself at 5 elims. Naper puts himself at 5 elims. That's 2 points apiece for those players. Here's Mr. Fresh Asian coming in, looking to try and borrow some space here in this little tower.
Well, he's going to know that there's a player above him. Just decides to 1 by 1 up, keep himself safe. Not a bad decision at this point. Difficult for him to retake that high ground. And I think when we get towards 30 players, you really start to think about that top 10, that point on the board. First throwing in a couple of rockets as well, just to cause a bit of havoc down on the low ground.
With basically 7 players stuck in, I would say, a 4x4 area here. All kind of by the same spot. The shot, the edit, and omass says no thank you, and first goes down.
Not a bad job. 31 now left. Snowy looking quite low. Might have actually been eliminated there as well. Indeed, he was. You can see a drop right in the middle of the mix there as well, but this is starting to get pretty tight now as well. The real estate, it's all been bought up.
Prices are skyrocketing. We're on the 6th circle. We've got 18 seconds until everything gets a little crazy. Everybody's going to have to rotate north, northeast. We're here still stuck on the west side of the map. And Devour with the ultimate high ground, it looks like, at this point.
Yeah, not to mention quite a decent amount of mats as well. So he's going to be able to make a good rotation.
He got a couple taps on Mr. Fresh Asian there. Decided to hide back in the bottom. Maybe he was going to pop the med kit, but doesn't at this point. The circle going to push him out. And Devour decides it's gatekeeping time. He's sitting up top of the middle of the circle, gets a bunch of taps. 1, 2, 3 HP left potentially on Mr. Fresh Asian. Stays alive though. Gancho Smile goes down in the feed, and Devour decides it's time to move. This is the time you're going to see a lot of players rotating basically on top of each other in these tunnels, the structure, the branches as they build. It may come down to a quick flick with a shotgun to decide an elimination or not as these kind of rotations happen. Devour says, I need the high ground still. I had it before, and I'm not giving it up just yet. Kaya's taking out Snake in the feed. You see Mr. Fresh Asian, 5 HP, but he's got a med kit. He's trying to sneak a shot. Neighbor on the rotation, which would be a big elimination. Neighbor sitting on 5, a shot underneath. Still alive. 5 HP, dream.
Starting to see a lot of these players go down to the Storm as well. Those were the guys caught on the low ground. Finally, Mr. Fresh Asian gets knocked down. That'll be Samuel picking up the elimination. And the players that were initially on that high ground, that had the natural high ground, are the ones that are starting to now excel in this late game situation. Kojo's has the ultra high ground now. That's been taken away from Devour.
Makes you kind of wonder if he realizes somebody's right above him or not. Twiz, Kay is actually getting a 2-piece in the feed. Picking up a back-to-back. Vince takes Taylor out, and Sync is still up in the air. You gotta watch that storm damage, bud. That circle's getting a little too small to hold on to that thing anymore.
Well, I guess the longer you can hold on to it, the better you can go. You've got a little bit more mats maybe toward the late game than what everyone else has got. You got a little bit more HP towards the late game. That's what it comes down to. Vince does get dropped. Unfortunate. Second place in the last game. Not going to be able to do too much here. Sits in probably 12th or 13th as we head towards the top 10.
11 players left. Devour and KS both sitting on 6 eliminations. One more would max their elimination points for this game. But Kojo's the ultimate high ground. There's one person above him.
Well,
I believe it's still Sync in the play.
Is it the ultimate high ground?
Is it really the ultimate high ground? Look at that structure. If anybody looks up and drops a rocket on that, it's going to be tough. And an absolute massacre in the open. Literally 5 players just dropped on top of each other and we're down to 6 people left.
Dolph comes out best. He's actually got a reasonable amount of shields, reasonable amount of HP out of that as well. But Twiz did pick up a couple of eliminations as well. Sits himself at 3, does get 1 point at the very least out of the eliminations.
What is this branch I'm looking at?
He must have a redeploy or something. He must have a redeploy, a rift. Who knows what he's got?
Exploding, he does.
Yeah, you're not sitting up that high without it.
Shot out of midair.
Eliminated. Absolutely decimated. And Kojo's is actually looking in a pretty good spot right now. No one seems to know or care that he's up there.
KS goes down. He was our actually, he did finish with 7 eliminations. That's 3 points right there. He landed 4th place. That's 2 more points. That's a 5 point, 6 point.
Oh, 2 HP, gets back in the storm, realized maybe it wasn't a great idea to be going for that heal. Battle has to drop off. He'll get knocked down by the ball damage.
Kojos and Dolph. Kojos all the way up top looking for the heal off finish, but he does have the redeploys. He's sitting on a med kit. He's in a great spot right now. He's just got to wait out for the last second here. 3 eliminations. If you can see it, here we go. The drop in.
He's been spotted as well, down to 38 HP. Kojo's, he'll get taken down. And Dolph picks up the victory royale with 3 eliminations.
Play wasn't the redeployer coming out, or maybe he dropped outside of the plane, something like that, getting picked up on the way down. Oh, look at that. Match results, yes, Dolph up there on 4 points, as we said. The most points we've seen so far as well. Oh, look at this. KS coming through as well. 7 eliminations in that match.
Huge.
Plus he plays 4th, 4 points as well. You can see things now, Vanny, really starting to heat up.
Devour as well. Devour O, she managed to get 6 eliminations. So finally players, they're like getting frustrated that we're not getting any points. Yeah, these people are playing for placements. It's finally time that we make a push. It's going to be do or die for them. But in this case, remember, even if you've just come or just placed, you're going to get $1,000. So really there's no dying, it's just doing.
It's pretty good, right?
Yeah,
it's pretty good. Everyone's a winner from here on out. Everyone hated standings. Let's throw this one up on the screen. On top, still, Jesse from the X2 Twins up on 9 points. Dolph, wow, look at that. Clearly, Dolph only had 1 point on the scoreboard after the first 3 matches. He gets to match number 4, picks up the victory royale, picks up a few limbs to his name as well, skyrockets into 2nd place, feeling pretty good about himself. Of course, we move through there as well. A number of players here, Vandy, still sitting on 5 points. And if X2 Twins has 1 more bad game, we're going to see a few people perhaps really right at his tails there.
Starting to catch up, exactly as you said. And from Dolph and Devour, we saw finally the eliminations were paying off. To get the 2 points meant so much in terms of shifting them out the leaderboard. So it still shows that it's anybody for that 2nd position, for that 3rd position. But for Jesse, he can't afford any more bad games because that gap is closing.
yeah, we're in a pretty tough position from some of these players as well.